know me as Rosie Jenner or Slugmail. I have 2 YouTubes that are ongoing. One of them is Rosie Jenner, which is a psychology YouTube. Oh my gosh, it's so noisy outside. And this Slugmail, which I will be posting this to, because I thought, why not just put all of my interests on one channel? So if I change the name of this, that's why, because I can't decide, I'm indecisive, and I'm a bit of a narcissist. So today I'm going to be doing a video on my May to be read list. It's going to be my initial reactions to all the books that I'm going to be reading this month. I thought it would be kind of fun just to do a short video on what I will be reading, sort of rating them how I think they'll turn out, and then to go back later and review them separately once I have read them. I know it's a bit of a weird layout, most people only review once they've read them, but it's the start. It's like midway through May and I haven't actually done much reading, and I just wanted to do a fun video that wouldn't be too much effort to introduce this new section of my channel. So I'm going to start off with what I'm currently reading, which so many people are reading right now. It's The Glass Woman. I'm using this adorable bookmark from one of my pen pals. The Glass Woman, I'm going to read you the blurb. It's by Caroline Leah, and I was really hesitant to pick this up, to be honest, because I really struggled to read The Bear and the Nightingale, which was meant to be really good. But I found it really hard to read. I love writing historical fiction, but when it comes to reading it, I'm not the best. But you get what I mean when I read you the blurb. So, John Ericsson buried, I'm sorry about the butchering of Icelandic terms by the way, buried one wife this year. How long before he buries a second? 1686, Iceland, an isolated, windswept land haunted by witch trials and steeped in the ancient sagas. Betrothed unexpectedly to John Ericsson, Rosa is sent to join her new husband in the remote village of... Let's just go with that. Here the villagers are wary of outsiders, but Rosa harbours her own suspicions. Her husband buried his first wife alone in the dead of night. He will not talk of it. Instead, he gives her a small glass figurine. She does not know what it signifies. The villagers mistrust them both. Dark threats are whispered. There is an evil here. Rosa can feel it. Is it her husband, the villagers, or the land itself? Alone and far from home, Rosa sees the darkness coming. She fears she will be its next victim. So, as someone who doesn't always enjoy historical fiction, what led me to spending £13 on a book like this? Okay, firstly I saw the cover and it was beautiful. And I know that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but I did. My sister came in. So what led me to spending so much money on this book? Of course, I just said I did look at the cover and I was like, oh shit, I gotta buy that book. But it's also about witch trials, and those who don't know me, I'm a huge, not fan because it was a horrible time, but like I'm really interested in the witch trials. As a psychologist, I'm interested in witch trials. As a person, I love just the whole like lore, folk tales, everything about like old age witches. So I thought I would give it a go. This is going to be the one where I actually give a little bit of a review. I have read, I think 68 pages of this book so far, and I'm actually really enjoying it. It's not slow. There hasn't been this whole like stupid lead up. Not that The Bear and the Nightingale was stupid, but there was so much time before the actual plot was unveiled. And yes, world building is good. Yes, character building is good. But if you spend your whole time trying to demonstrate how silly a character is, people are going to get bored, to be honest, in my opinion. And this book doesn't do that. It goes straight into it. everyone's already whispering, there's already rumors, the whole premise of the book is basically given in the blurb, so she had to do that. But the way she tells it is really good. It's like you can feel the character's emotions while she's still writing in present tense, which aren't personal, if that makes sense. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm kind of shipping her and Peter already, lol, don't judge me if you've read this book. But I'm really excited to see how it turns out. I have heard a few people say that it does get boring midway, but it's a nice size. It's about stuff that I'm really interested in, and it hasn't, like, the witch trial bit hasn't actually arisen yet. I've read some reviews that gave a tiny bit of a spoiler that really intrigued me, so my overall like perception of how I'll feel about this book is that it won't be my favourite, but I'll enjoy it. I think it will surprise me, and I'm gonna give this a wary 3.5 stars because I think I'm going to enjoy it, but I think I might have to plod along with it just because it's in the past and it's set in Iceland, which I'm notoriously bad with names for, but I really think I'm going to enjoy it, and it's well written. It's by a wonderful lady who lives and works at the uni near me, so obviously I'm like, oh, gotta enjoy it because I know her. I don't really know her, but like, you get me, it's like pride of the town. So I'm really hoping that this goes well, and I picked it up at my local Waterstones, which is sort of the inspiration for this channel because I live right next to the Waterstones, which is an issue. But anyways, let's move on to my second May to be read. You're probably already starting to see what I will be reading. Oh my gosh, I'm blurry, please. There you go. You're probably already seeing a little bit of a hint of what I'll be reading this month. So let's get into it. I loved Caraval. Caraval was a hit. I got it as soon as I heard the news that it was out. I'm obsessed with Caraval world. The building, the characters, everything is balanced perfectly for a fairly basic language book, and it was amazing. It blew my expectations out of the water. I was really surprised, and yeah, I bought Legendary as soon as it came out. I thought I was going to read it straight away, and as soon as I did, I went into a huge reading slump and wasn't able to read it. So you guessed it, my first next to be read for May is Legendary because I really want to read Finale. I own Finale, it's right here. It's upside down. But I haven't read Legendary yet. I genuinely think that this is going to be one of the series that I rate 5 out of 5 stars. I rated the Monster Calls series by Patrick Ness a 4 out of 5 because I enjoyed it all, but it was so at the start. I was a bit iffy on it. The last book didn't really settle with me well compared to the first book. Harry Potter series, I rated a 4 out of 5 just because I loved it, I enjoyed it, but it got slow at the end, it got samey. I've rated so many series a 4 out of 5 stars. The same with the Gone series, I loved it, but the last book was a letdown, so overall I just couldn't rate it a 5 out of 5. But this is one of the ones that I'm really having high expectations for. Caraval really set the scene. It really had and gave high expectations. It was a perfect rounded book from start to finish. I could not put it down. I picked it up at about 2 a.m. one day because I just couldn't sleep, and I finished it that night. And then I made everyone I everyone I know read it, and it was spectacular. So from what I've heard, we don't get let down like at all. I don't think Finale is going to be as good as Caraval because nothing compares to that nostalgic feeling of reading the first book in a series, but I really think for a second book it's not going to let anyone down. But of course nearly everyone has already read it. Obviously we have these gorgeous Hidden Front Pages, that's the one I got. I think it's beautiful. The first one, I think I got The Clocks. It's in my bookshelf in the cupboard. But yes, I really have high expectations for Legendary, and I also have the same high expectations for Finale. First off, I was really confused when it came out as red. I was like, I want them to be samey. That sounds really bad. But I saw this and like, it is beautiful. I've never really owned a red hardcover book. I know that's weird to judge a book on, but I really like it. I pre-ordered it. It's one of the only books I've ever pre-ordered, because I really do think that the Caraval trilogy is one to be reckoned with. I think it's a great premise. I think it's an original setting. I think it's an original tale told in an original way, and I really hope that this will be a 5 out of 5 star series, because the first book was just so phenomenal. You probably saw all over Bookstagram, all over BookTube how wonderful it was, and I am not one to gush about like sort of fantasy novels. I tend to go for like Brave New World, Dorian Gray, more than this sort of like sci-fi-ish or thought-provoking or just generally nostalgic, but Caraval just goddamn. So if these two books don't blow me away in May, I will let you know. I will do it as a joint review, but I will be surprised as heck because I really have really high expectations of this. I think these are going to be 5 out of 5. I'm not going to read you the blurbs just because I feel like everyone knows Caraval and these are the second and third books. So obviously it's leading on from Caraval, the basis of Caraval being it's like a carnival setting. They're invited to the Caraval, which they have begged the Taskmaster Legendary, or Legend rather, they begged him to be allowed in for years, and they finally are, just as they're being betrothed to people and like having family issues, and it's just amazing. You have to read it. I'm not gonna spoil it. It's one of those series which I definitely think you just have to go into with like literally no thoughts. Just read it. Just read it. Just read it. Before I run out of film, I'm going to move on to the next one because I could spend all day gushing about Caraval and just revisiting it, but I'm not gonna, because you deserve to read it for yourself and know that it is great. Okay, this next one is not surprising for me. I've been a huge fan of crime this year and last year. I'm pretty sure everything I read last year was crime. Yeah, what? I think the only book that I read that wasn't crime was Shiver, I believe, because I hadn't read that before. But this is unsurprising for me. The Hunting Party. What can I say about this? I saw the cover and I was really like, judged it. I judge books by covers, okay? And I was surprised to be drawn to a yellow book because honestly, not what you expect really, apart from that most crime novels nowadays are black and yellow for some reason. But anyway, I will read you the blurb and you will know. In a remote hunting lodge deep in the Scottish wilderness, old friends gather for New Year. The beautiful one, the golden one, the volatile one, the new parents, the quiet one, the city boy, the outsider, the victim. Not an accident, a murder among friends. So, on New Year's Eve, the Lochcarron estate, the Hogmanay celebrations are in full flow. 9 old friends swapping stories and reveling in forgotten memories. Yes, secretly the group know they no longer have anything in common except shared history, deep old wounds, and friendship-destroying secrets. As a thick blizzard descends and the clock strikes 12, a broken body is found in the snow. The group are trapped and all signs are pointing to murder. No one can get in and no one can get out, not even the killer. So, my favourite book, apart from Caraval, last year was The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I really think that The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle is an unbeatable book. I think it set the premise for crime and history novels and like supernatural and just about everything. It covered just about every genre that you can imagine. It was mind-boggling, and the way that there's different people in this book that resemble like different traits, I really think echoes the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. But it wasn't that drew me in. The fact that it's a crime and the fact that it's one of those like Cluedo style murder mysteries always pulls me in. There are so many books like this. Some of them are disappointing, but most of them are amazing, and I just can't let go of it. And yes, I know if you've read a lot of crime, if you've read a lot of Cluedo style books, you will probably find this just normal and boring and unoriginal, but I actually have high hopes for this book. I don't think that I will be rating any of the books that I have picked up for May less than a 3, because honestly I'm really impressed with the finds and the incomings for this year, but I really think that this is going to be like a 3.5 or a 4 out of 5 because it sounds good. It's about friends, it's a murder mystery, it's not like a straight up reveal. It's a bit like Evelyn Hardcastle, which is my favourite book, apart from Caraval, apart from Brave New World, apart from Wool. But yeah, I have high expectations for this book. I haven't seen a lot of booktubers or bookstagram accounts posting about this book, so I'm really hoping that it's good and I'm not just picking this up on a whim because it's yellow and it was at the front of the bookstore I go to. But I have high expectations, so I think I can expect to like it. I think I might get a little bit disappointed because it's not like the fantasy aspect of Evelyn, and I know that you should never go into a book expecting anything that and you shouldn't expect it to echo another book completely, but I really think that this is going to be one of the crime novels of the year just from the way that it's written. I read a few pages from the start and the end of every book. Not the exact end, but I like to see if the writing style is consistent, and in all of the books that I've picked up this year, they've been consistent, they've been good writing style, they've had good characters, they've had a good world, they've set a good premise, and yeah, I just think it's gonna be good because I really miss crime. I always miss crime because I spent all of last year reading crime, so I hope that this will mix it up. But yeah, on to the next one. Oof, I've got to be quick with the last few books that I've picked up. You've probably seen Heavens Everywhere. I cannot wait to read this book. It's a really short book. It's beautiful. It has a beautiful cover. I saw a bookstagrammer post about this book and I thought, I have to get that. And I don't care that it was $13.99 for a really thin book. I really think that this is going to blow romance out the water. I'm always looking for new romance novels because I've given up on them because they're all the same. Either it's all Romeo and Juliet or it's... You get what I'm talking about. You get it. If you read a lot of books, you're probably like, romance is dead. So the premise of this is... Right, Kate and Ben meet at a party in 2000 New York, which first off is a great setting. I love that sort of like oldies, like parties, you know, sort of like reminiscent low-key Gatsby, but in that time period. Anyway, moving on. They meet at a party and immediately fall in love. This is the first year of the new millennium, the first year without a war anywhere in the world. The United Nations just planted its flag on Mars, and the Green Party senator is about to become the first female president of the United States. Kate falls asleep knowing that she is loved. So first off, this is sort of like within our lives, but like alternate reality, which really engaged me. Firstly because low-key Green Party, whoop whoop, but green. But also just because I really like that sort of thing. I like alternative realities. So the other part is London 1593. Kate wakes up as Amelia, the mistress of a nobleman, and finds a plague at her door. Afflicted by premonitions? Apparently I can't read. premonitions of burnt and lifeless cities, she sets out to save the world. Each decision she makes will change her life with them forever. A love story, an alternative universe's madness and time travel. The heavens is dreambound in a strange awakening. It's a novel of what we have lost and what we have yet to be able to save. So this one really intrigued me because there's the aspect of her sort of losing her mind. She's not sure if it's like a psychological thing. She's not sure if it's just, you know, her life is actually ending and she's actually time traveling, which is suggested by the love story complicated by time travel. And I really don't think it's going to be a time traveler's wife thing. I really think this is going to be original. It's a short story, which is new. There's not many novellas or short stories in the highly ranked books, to be honest. And I'm just really excited to read this. It's very different to something that I would normally read. Again, it has that historical aspect, it has that romance aspect. Not that Caraval wasn't a romance, because it totally was, but I'm just really looking forward to reading this book. It's kind of basic on the outside, but I'm excited, and I literally just saw this on a whim on a Bookstagram account. I went out, I found it the next day, and now I'm ready to read it, and I will update you when I have, but I'm gonna rate this a 3.5 because I don't think it's gonna be blowing me out of the water, but I do think it's gonna be original and exciting and riveting. So let's move on to the next one. So because I filmed so much, I have about 3 minutes to talk about 2 books, and these are the 2 books, Vox and The Mars Room. These 2 were upcoming novels through from January, I think. I'm pretty sure The Mars Room came out first. But it was named this year's must-read, and I've seen it everywhere. I saw it on Kindle first when I was just browsing the book, and I'm excited. I think I'm going to rate this a 3.5 just because I'm not really sure about it. It's not something I would normally read, but here's the blurb. Romy Hall is starting 2 consecutive life sentences at Stanville Women's Correctional Facility. Her crime? The killing of her stalker. Inside awaits a world where women must hustle and fight for the bare essentials. Outside the San Francisco of her youth. The Mars Room strip club where she was once a dancer, her 7-year-old Jackson. As Romy forms friendships over liquor brewed in socks and stories shared through sewage pipes, her future seems to unfurl in one long unwavering line, until news from the beyond of the prison bars forces Romy to try and outrun her destiny. So I really think that this is an interesting premise. It's not one that I would normally pick up. It's one of those books that I really ummed and ahed over buying for ages, and then I spoke to a woman in the bookstore who was just the most delightful woman I have ever met in my life, and she said that her friend was reading this and was really inspired by it. But I don't know, I think I have high expectations of this because everyone's raving about it, and I think that I might be a little disappointed, but I'm excited to try it, and I will let you know how it goes. But I really think that this might be a really good one. It's definitely set some high boundaries for this year's prize winners, because this is already a Man Booker Prize winner of 2018, and it came out at the end of last year. Let me find it. Yeah, I can't completely remember when it came out, but it's definitely set a really high level of quality, really, to last year's and this year's work. So I'm excited to read this. I know everyone has already read it, but I'm excited to read it for myself. So the next one I want to talk about is... Okay, we're back, and I have just about enough time to talk about Vox. I really need to get an actual camera, but I cannot afford it, so you're going to be sticking with this horrible Android quality for a long time to come. I'm a little bit blurry there, let's just adjust that. So Vox, I will read the blurb of, and you will probably say, Rosie, I already have read this. I read the entire novel. I read it months ago. It's revolutionary. I love it, but let's get into the blurb. We will not be silenced. Jean McClellan spends her time in almost complete silence, limited to just 100 words a day. I would not survive doing that anymore, and 1,000 volts of electricity course through her veins. But now the new government is in power. Everything has changed, but only if you're a woman. Almost overnight, bank accounts are frozen, passports are taken away, and 70 million women lose their jobs. Even more terrifyingly, young girls are no longer taught to read or write. For herself, her daughter, and for every woman silenced, Jean will reclaim her voice. This is only the beginning. 100-word limit reached. Right. I saw Vox for a long time and I was worried that it would turn out just like The Water Cure or like Women Talking, where it's reminiscent of A Handmaid's Tale and everyone's raving about it and it gets loads of book features and loads of prizes because it's feminism, it's a possible future, it's an alternate reality, it's kind of scary, it's thought-provoking, but I genuinely think that this might be the novel that turns my head towards feminist literature and towards Christina Dalcher in general, to be honest. Everyone is talking about it, everyone is saying it's amazing. To be honest, I'm excited. I really think that this, along with The Mars Room, these two books I think are going to be surprising. I think that they are both going to come out on top of my reading list. I genuinely think that this will change my mind because I read a lot of cult books last year. I read a lot of books that I'm going to be reviewing on my channel, but I read Station 11 and that was amazing. I read The Water Cure, which changed my mind at the end. I read Women Talking, which I'm going to do a whole honest review on in a second because we need to talk about that book. But I think Vox will change my mind. And it also turned my head towards some similar reads. I'm really excited for The Farm. I'm excited for the next Handmaid's Tale just because I think it's going to be really confusingly different. But Vox has had hype, and unlike a lot of books that are upcoming just because, I really think that this is going to be one of those books that is rightly reviewed by a lot of people. I don't think this is going to be a hop on the train, we all love this book already, so let's talk about it. I genuinely think that this is going to be one of those books that people review highly because it deserves to be reviewed highly. Just like Caraval, just like Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. And I'm excited. I'm excited for this book. I'm excited for The Mars Room. I'm excited for all of my May reads, which is really surprising. I'm not saying that I'm going to get through all of them. I might have to put some of them into my June to be read because I'm a slow-ass reader. But I'm excited for all of them. I have high expectations. I genuinely don't think that any of them will fall below 3 stars. I've rarely read anything I think was below 3 stars. But you'll just have to see. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like this format, if you like this predictions style sort of video, let me know because I really think that it's fun to make predictions because why else would I buy a book if I didn't think I'd enjoy it? So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want me to change this up, if you want me to start a bookstagram for this YouTube, if you want me to just make a separate channel. But for now, a lot of my pen pals, a lot of my Slug Mail channel watchers really enjoy reading, so I thought why not combine them? Why not give my audience more of me? Because I'm a bitch. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video and I will see you again really soon, as in a second, because I'm about to do a review on Women Talking, which it's a woman talking about women talking and it's gonna be interesting. So I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. Let me know if you're enjoying this booktube and let me know if you think I'm doing a good job. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. So have a great day, have good reading, and read all of these books with me. I'll see you again next time. Goodbye!